All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, here we're gonna talk about roadmaps. I have Thiago by my side.
Yeah, hi.
Thiago, you're also one of the guys from
Yep.
the project team.
I'm part of the project team.
Yeah.
My focus mainly in development, but I also go to customers and help with the consulting part as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're also from Brazil.
Yep. Moved to Denmark a couple years ago.
So can I ask you about the concept of saudade?
Saudade.
No, that's just
all
kidding.
Right, good.
Let's get to the theme. And actually, I've seen, as you already have seen out there, that we already posted or published the quick polls. And thank you for your answers. And if someone didn't answer yet, just do it. It actually keeps us updated about how actually who are we talking to. Yes. So. I'm excited. I think everybody's excited to hear about this new product.
Yeah, brand new product.
Yeah.
So what we're going to be talking about today is roadmaps. So Microsoft's brand new, released in the beginning of the year, basically for everyone to be able to use. It's a tool that helps project managers, PMO executives communicate about how their programs, how their portfolio is going. So it gives you a nice picture on how projects are running. It's mainly a visualization, communication tool. It might be useful during some meetings, but you're not going to be doing any strategic planning of your roadmap. For that, we're working on another solution that I can get into a bit later near the end.
So it's mainly to have get an overview of your project or all your projects.
Yeah. So with roadmaps, you can create you can separate projects that are relevant into a roadmap, so you can get a picture of them. I have a demo roadmap over here that we can start with. To use roadmap, you access it through the project home. The project home, you get there by using the app launcher and finding project over here on the list. So I have a project over here, and it will bring me back to this page right here. And then in the project home is how I get to my roadmap. I have the one I set up for today already here favorited. So I'm going to click on it. And it's loading. But this is my roadmap, right? So I have information here about multiple projects, and I can see the different phases in the projects that are ongoing. And the nice thing about roadmap is that it brings information not just from one project online installation that you might have. Some organizations have multiple, each department has their own. So that's not a limitation for roadmap. You can bring information from all of those different installations and get that information in. But you can also currently bring information from Azure DevOps. Microsoft has let us know that they're going to be adding this capability, bringing in information from Planner and also from the project service automation from Dynamics. And their goal is that you can bring information from multiple places. So it's possible that they'll add in Jira and other solutions. So you can consolidate all this information. No matter where you're running your project, you can get that information out and present it to the interested parties. So for example, I have this project over here, this disruption methodology. If I click on it, I get a list, a description on the side, which I can update if I want, change the owner. But the interesting part here is this connection. So I get the project logo, and if I click on it, it opens in a new tab and it goes straight into the project. So this is one of our demo project online installations. It's our PPM Pro V3. We've done some changes to the visuals to make it look more modern. Doesn't quite look as much like Project Online normally looks like. But so I have here the information about this project of mine. I have all of my activities, and I could also go into other areas of the project. So I could look at the risks, see how the financials are going, take a look at the project brief if I have one, and I could interact with the project. So it's handy that I can go into the project. And so this one is in my PPM Pro V3 installation. And if I go into this Office 365 adoption project, follow the same path and open here. So this one is in my V2 installation. So it's a completely different Project Online instance. Unfortunately, it has to be in the organization, so I can't connect to a Project Online from another company, even unless my user has access to it, and Project Online doesn't work that way at the moment. But I also get information about the project, and I could take a look at all that. And like I mentioned, we can also connect to Azure DevOps. So if I click here on this Scrum project I have created, the logo on the side over here now is different. It means it's connected to Azure DevOps. And if I click on it, like the other time, it now opens my Visual Studio Online Azure DevOps installation, where I'm at the project, and I can also browse it and look for the different items that I have in here that I'm tracking. Right.
Okay. Actually, there's. I mean, we like when it's a bit interactive, these sessions. And we already have a question from from Martin in the audience. He asks, we don't have that PO home. How do we then access roadmap? When we launch PO, Project Online, we go directly to the Project Online page we developed.
Okay, so that is a common scenario, because for a long time, the default behavior for Project Online was that when you clicked on the project button that I clicked earlier, it would always take you to a fixed Project Online installation. And that is a problem for a lot of customers. So we would create a custom button, which is probably the case that they're facing there, where they have a custom button that's taking them to that Project Online installation. So they need to take a look. There's probably a different button that says project that they can click on, and it will bring them here. Roadmap might not be initially visible, because though they did release it for everyone to use in the beginning of the year, IT, the Office 365 administrator, needs to go into the administration of Office 365, enable the roadmap feature. There might be a few different steps involving CDS, but that's a different subject.
Well, it seems a bit complicated, but
it's just to get started.
Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, but at least if people want, they can contact you.
They can reach out. We can help them out. But then once you're in the project home, you can click on create new. If roadmap has already been enabled, you can click in from here, and you will be brought in to a new page. So I've shown you how a roadmap looks and some of the things you can do, right? We have here the different projects. One thing that I like is that these rows that we have here, they're pretty independent. And so this over here, I have my Scrum project, the one in Azure DevOps. I have it multiple times. So this is the same project in all these 3 rows. And you can use this to kind of give a different perspective. Maybe a project is divided in different categories. So you have a security concern, you have the user experience concern, and then you have just the main product concern. So you can bring that information in, kind of split up. So it really helps you organize things, maybe not the exact way the project is organized, but a way that makes sense for you to communicate. Another thing you have is that you can add these key dates over here. If you click here, you can just give it a name, and you add one of these markers over here, which is good for you to keep track of events that impact all of these projects that you need to know. So, for example, I have here when my sprints are happening or beginning. I also have a deadline that of when it's expected that this rollout will complete. But I can also have internal milestones from each of the projects showing up as key dates specifically to that project, right? We can zoom out to make it better to visualize. And we can also filter if you want to look at things that a specific person's responsible for. I can use this to just filter the view and clean it up if you have too many projects in here. And the idea is that you create a roadmap for each different program that you're running, or each set of projects that make sense together that you need to track. So you're also not limited to how you're running your project. Right?
Great. Can you take one more question from the audience? It's actually Martin again. He's like the spørgjern today.
Good, good.
He says, who can view the information in roadmap?
Yeah, sure. That's a...
Do they need license to the project online to see information?
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit into that?
Yes.
We already talked about that.
Yeah, we were talking about this. It's a good segue.
But good question, Martin.
Yeah, thanks.
Keep them coming.
You do need licenses. Roadmaps is for people that have the professional or the premium licenses. So it's not for a team member to be consuming. It's more following the same standard that project uses. It's the people who are managing the projects, managing programs, and getting that overview of the portfolio. So it needs the professional and the premium licenses. So unfortunately, you can't just use it with the essentials.
Okay.
You can share roadmaps with other people, which is done by clicking up here, and you can just add people to a list, or you can connect it to an Office 365 group that might exist, and then you can, I'll show it in a little bit where you can connect it to a group.
Okay.
Yeah. So I showed you a roadmap, and now I'm going to show you how you can create a new one. Just cover a few different things.
Yeah. So yeah, I was actually just about to. How can I do it? I mean, or is it only the project manager?
Other than needing a license, anyone can create the roadmap, right? So you, if I come in here and in the project home, click Create New and choose Roadmap, and you would be able to follow this as well. When I'm creating this, only I have access to it. So until the moment I decide to share it with more people, I'm the only person that has access to this. So this is my roadmap, my visualization. So I create the roadmap. It's good to give it a name from the start, because this name is used when a lot of things are provisioned behind the scenes, and it's useful if it has a name that makes sense. So I'll just call it presentation roadmap. I'm the owner for it, so I gave it the name, and you can see it updated over here already. All the interaction that you do here is saved pretty much instantly. So as you go making changes, it's already saved. You don't need to click on anything. Just make the changes you want. And after naming it, the next thing I do is click on this Add Row button, where I can choose a project. And differently than naming the roadmap, you can hold off on giving it a name if you want, and you can just click this button to connect to a project. It gives you the option of Project Online or Azure Boards, And the reason you can hold off is because depending on the project you select here, it will automatically fill in this name for you. So click on Project Online. It remembers the last Project Online instance that I used. So this is my PPM Pro V3. And I can type in, I can start typing, and it searches for projects that have these letters in the project name. So I have this Office 365 groups as Project Online. I select the project, and once I've selected the project, I get this prompt to establish the connection. And what Roadmaps does is it's going to provision some flows from Microsoft Flow, which is it's not exactly new, but it's a workflow solution that Microsoft has been working on and is using with Dynamics and SharePoint and also with Project Online. And it's also what we're trying to use in all our projects when we try to use Flow as much as possible.
Yeah.
It's much more powerful than the old workflow engine.
And the old one was like SharePoint Designer.
It's a SharePoint Designer workflows. They're hard to maintain. This is much easier to debug and create. So I select the project and I click Connect, and this is going to create that flow. And the flows that are created, they use the roadmap name. So it's useful for you to have this name here, because later, if you have too many roadmaps, it makes it easier to find the flows that are created. Once I select the project, I need to select tasks that I want to bring in. So I know my project has this initiation task. It's a summary task, so I just select it. I can see the dates where it's in, and then I click Add. I could add multiple rows if I wanted over there. So I've added the rows, and they should be visible. This was an older project, so it's over here in 2018, right? One thing that I skipped over is I can assign an owner. This doesn't make any changes into project. It's just informative. So I can say, okay, the person that's responsible for providing status updates and all that doesn't have to be necessarily the project manager. It could be the sponsor, the person that's doing more follow-ups with the project manager and is responsible for presenting to the board. I'll just use Alan over here. And it showed up already for me in the roadmap, right? If I want to add something from Azure DevOps, the process is pretty much the same. So I can choose here Azure Board. It picks up the last one I used. This is actually my personal one. And I can choose a project, which in this case, there's only one. So I select the project. It's the same process. It's going to provision a flow behind the scenes for us.
Okay. Yeah.
Click Connect. And I can add the items. A difference between the project and the Azure DevOps one is here I can use the work item IDs that I have in Azure DevOps to do the search. I'm not locked to searching only by the name of the task. So if I know the ID, I can just type it in, and it will bring the information in for us.
So there's a new question.
Yeah.
And guess who's asking? Thank you, Martin. He asks, could I choose the entire project portfolio instead of one project at a time?
No, unfortunately, you need to add one project at a time. Currently, we're not, there's no supported way of developing against roadmaps, but we do expect it to come out in the future. Everything, all the data load over here is running based on Flow. So we expect them to release some Flow activities that we can use to send information in, and then we could make a way where all of the projects would come in automatically.
Okay.
But at the moment, the roadmap, you need to build it and compose it.
Okay.
And part of the idea is you don't want to bring in your complete project schedule into here either. You want to bring just the relevant things. So summarize, try to be brief with the roadmap, so you get more you get faster information out of it. You don't need to think too much about what you're looking at. But unfortunately, at the moment, the answer is no.
Okay.
So I added this row here. It filled in the name automatically, but this one is too big. So I could rename it, for example, Project Online Office 365 Groups. And again, it doesn't impact project. It's just for me to see information, right? And I got the information visible here. And one thing that I didn't show earlier is that in the roadmap, I can flag the status of the activities. So I can say if it's on track, at risk, high risk. So it's useful when you're in a status meeting for the program. You can open up the roadmap. You can see, okay, this is the date we're currently in. You can see things that maybe don't have a status set or should have been completed. You can go into the project, see the status of it, and update the information here, and flag things. Okay, this is high risk. It should have been finished, but it's not.
Would that be the handiest thing to do? I mean, why don't you just do that in the project online or in your project tool already?
Sure. The good thing about this is that we're bringing information from multiple places.
Yeah.
Right. So we don't have to be just in Project Online. We could have information coming in from Azure DevOps and all of that. So this really consolidates things. And then you could ask, well, can't I do that with Power BI? And you could also build this type of information with Power BI, but you wouldn't be able to provide a feedback on it, and you wouldn't be able to select exactly the items you want to see here. You can't compose your own roadmap if you're just using with Power BI. That said, this does provide data that we can read with Power BI, so we can also use this to give you better reports. So once you have a roadmap composed, we can build reports that consider the projects only inside of that roadmap, so you can organize things as programs and all of that, and get more information out of it. But this tool is mainly for communicating, visualizing your roadmap, and getting that information quickly to the stakeholders. One other use for roadmaps is if you're trying to do strategic planning for your organization, and then more than just the projects that you have running, you might want to have your strategic pillars, and you want to set objectives that you want to reach, and plan out the projects that you're going to run. And this roadmap solution doesn't support that. And we're working on a product right now. I have a couple screenshots to show, which is we have the strategic roadmap plan. So you get this this view where you can see all your strategic pillars and themes and all of your supply areas, people who are trying to reach those objectives through initiatives. So you can set these objectives and categorize them, assign them to different areas, business units, and all that. You can also then connect this information in with initiatives. Say, okay, this area has a project that's trying to meet 2 or 3 objectives. And you also get a visualization similar to this one in roadmaps. And you can also browse this, and then this one has a focus more on the strategic planning more than communication. But Microsoft's roadmap is focusing more in the communication of things. Yeah, getting the visualization of,
I mean,
of the roadmap.
I mean, from what I learned about it, it seems like a good name because actually that's what you give to find. Where are you on the map?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So it gives you a good picture of where projects are, where they're going, and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's pretty much what I had to show you guys about roadmaps. There's other things that we could do going into flow and things like that. But then it's a bit more technical. We could have another session.
That will be another time. Yeah. But so you want to come back one day?
Yeah, we'll look into that.
Thank you, Thiago. Yeah. It's been a pleasure having you in the studio.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions before we?
We don't have any questions
All right.
from the audience, but I guess it's fine. Maybe they come afterwards.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, we'll always be.
Yeah, feel free to reach out. We'll do what we can to
Yeah.
solve
We
your
ha-
problems.
we share the presentation on the Yammer, the productivity lab we have,
Okay.
and there people
People will
can
provide
like
comments,
yeah
and
we
I'll
can
keep an eye on it.
continue
The conversation there.
exactly.
Yes.
So for now, I just want to say thank you for watching and listening, and thank you for your intelligent questions, Martin. And see you next time. We have one already tomorrow, and we also have more coming up about the project. Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you for today. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks. See you.